Hey, what's up, everybody? So, the price, is it done correcting or does it have more to go? We're going to talk about it. We're going to look at XRP, Bitcoin, we're going to look at Theta, and a few other altcoins. Yeah, let's jump into it. So, we were looking at this as a three-way pullback, right? So, you have this sort of this diagonal type of wave structure. So, either a 1, 2, and then you have 1, and then you have 2. So a 1 2 1 2 is very bullish, probably one of the most bullish setups. Now this 1 2 though could turn into something more complex. So instead of A B C, it would be A B C and then continue. So it could turn into a more complex wave structure, depending, what Bitcoin is doing at the time. But we should expect this to start leveling off and to continue to pump to the upside. Because overall, this is a fourth wave, right? So if we look at this as a fourth wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's go up and get 5. So that's pretty clear, right? And this is very clear as well. It's a flat. We have a three-way move down. So what is this? This is the beginning of either, in my opinion, not financial advice, but a move to the upside, a fifth wave to the upside. Now it's not going to go in a straight line, but at some point it's gonna take off. The bearish idea would be that this is some kind of B wave. So you have A, right? This turns into some kind of B, and then we get C later on, and then we go up. I don't think that's what's happening. The only reason I would think that is because of the summer months, right? Summer is typically bearish, and it just doesn't do anything, right? Typically. But the way it's setting up, to me, it seems like it would this right here is the move, right? And this is a continuation. So we'll circle back to XRP. We'll go back to it, but let me just let's just browse around and let's look at the different wave structures here. Let's start with let's look at Polygon. So if we look at Polygon, you can see, right? We had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move off the low, right? Because remember, we've been in this correction for a long time, right? Remember, Trump won the election, the market took off, and then the tariff stuff and all the narratives brought the price down, right? Brought it way down, and we've been going down, 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 down for month after month since really December, right? January, February, March, April. So that's a lot. That's 5 months going down, 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 right? So typically when you go down that much, statistically, you're going to reverse, right? So what we look for in a reversal, we look for bullish divergence in a reversal. So you could see we had boom, 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 boom on the daily. So there's your bullish divergence. What else do we look for? We want a 5 wave move off the low, So here's our low. Do we have 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We sure do. So there's your wave 1. So this is a really, really good sign, not just for Matic, but basically it's painting the picture for the whole market. So then you have a 5 wave move. So now you need what? A correction, an ABC. So here's your ABC. Is that finished? Is it over with? Or does it need to be bigger? Does it need to be more proportional with this wave 1? For example, we can go back up in 3 and then back down in 3 or even 5. So A, B, C, a 3, 3, 5 or a 3, 3, 3, whatever. And then from there, that to me looks a little bit more proportional. And then we start going up for that wave 3. So we're working on our wave 2 here. So it's very clean. I like the wave structure. It's very, very clean. It's very almost too perfect, So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the smaller time frames. And then is this A, B, C? And then we continue higher? It very, very, very well could be. Or is this going to go back up in 3, get rejected in here, maybe kind of have like a shoulder, you know, maybe like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, kind of a sideways, maybe build a base up here, right? So I'm just throwing out ideas. But the point is, you can say, well, that, you know, it's not really helpful if we don't know. But yeah, we do know. We do know. It's going up. It's going higher. But it's all about, well, is it going to go now? Or is it going to come up here and retrace, then pull back, and then go up? To get that AB, that 3-wave shape. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see. Again, you have point A, point B, right? You have this 3-wave move down. Look at that. That looks finished. To me, this looks like it's going to move up. Okay? When it moves up, does it move up correctively or does it move up in 3 waves? If it moves up in 3 waves, then when we get here, we have the idea like, well, maybe it's going to come back down and then, you know, to get that 3-wave shape. But if this thing kind of like rockets up here and then has this 3-wave pullback, I'm going to think that it's going to continue higher. Now, here's the interesting thing. It can turn into a flat. And that's what makes technical analysis so hard, is the flats. Because people who trade, they trade on the breakout, right? So here's your high. You come up here. Okay, we broke out. And then they go long, but then it comes back down, right? So that this is the B. And the B broke out. It went above the wave A, right? So this is your wave A, there's your B. And then it comes down into a C. Typically when they break the top, a lot of times it's a running flat correction, right? That's what makes technical analysis very difficult, is the flats, because the flats are double fake outs, right? So I'm not saying it's going to be a flat. We don't know what exactly it's going to look like, but we have an idea of what it's going to look like. So let's do this. Let's use a fib based time extension from the bottom of wave 1. And you can say, well, who cares about Matic? Who cares about Polygon? Well, whatever Polygon is saying is the same for, you know, Ethereum, or the Ethereum, whatever Ethereum's saying is the same for ADA or whatever. It doesn't really matter what coin or chart we look at. The point is it bullish? And if it is, then that means most likely the whole market is bullish. So if we go from the very top here and double click, I would honestly say, based on the proportionality of this wave, the wave 2 probably is done. Because look where it bottomed out. It bottomed out between the 50 and the 618. That's typically where a wave 2 would bottom out. So, according to the time analysis, we don't need a more complex structure. But here's the thing, though, right? First, you know, according to the time analysis, that is your 3-wave move, and we can continue higher, right? But if we do continue higher, what is that going to do, right? So if we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is that? Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a 5, 3, 5. What is that? That is either 1, 2 in the middle of 3, 4, 5, or it becomes 3, which is A, B, C, right? So if we get a 3-wave move up, which very well looks like it, and according to the fib levels, it makes sense, right? From a time perspective, it doesn't have to have that more complex addition. So if we get this 3-wave move up, then usually what happens is you would get 3 waves back down, right? And that would take, you know, I mean, that's like 3 months right there. You know, that's a long time. And then from there, then that's when we would go much higher. So let me show you on the bigger, or actually, let's just go to another chart. How about that? So we looked at Matic. Let's look at ADA now. So if we go out of here, ADA looks okay. So it's the same concept, right? This is a 4th wave. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, we should go up for 5, right? And if we look at this correction, one of my favorite looking corrections, you have 3 down, or I'm sorry, you actually have, notice, this is a good lesson right here. Notice how this comes up, and then we come down in 3, right? But then we have to go back up in 3, and then we have to go back down in 3, and it becomes a more complex 3. That's what I was referring to, Polygon, right, Matic? So maybe that is the case. But again, according to the time Fibonacci scales, it should reverse sooner rather than later. So you have 3 right there. There's 3, right? So you're excited. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the moon. Well, no. Now it's going to be even more complex than that. So you're going to have another 3 up, another 3 down, another 3 up, right? And then you would and then you get another 3 down. So 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. So 1, 2, 3, right? So boom, we have a 3-wave correction. The 4th wave is finished, right? By the way, I was going to put a members video out over the weekend, but my grandmother passed away Friday. So, you know, I was just with family and just at relatives' houses and, you know, just, you know, so that look for that sometime this coming week. So yeah, you know how it is. You know how it is. So, but anyways, you know, she died of old age. You know, she was in her 80s. So, and she went peacefully. But, you know, she raised me for like probably like 7 years of my life at some point in my life. But yeah, may God rest her soul. So, anyways, she lived a good life. That's the important thing. So ADA, you know, again, it looks really, really, really good. We have a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have a 3-wave pull. I mean, it's like, this is exactly what this exact structure was what we were talking about when we were in this wave, right? Because when we were in this wave, we figured out what it was, right? Or maybe before, right? 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. So when you have the 3 back down, that's when you know you're almost at the end, right? And then when you're in that third, or actually it was 5, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when you're in that last wave down, that C wave, especially the 5th wave, that's when you know the bottom's coming. So as that bottom was coming in, it was suggested that, well, in order for the low to come to be confirmed, we need a 5-wave move off the low. And that's what we got. We got a 5-wave move. So the question now is the same thing. Is it going to be easy, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, let's go from here, right? Or maybe we drop, maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we go up, right? Or is this going to be 3 down, and then we're going to get 3 up, and then we're going to get 3 back down, and it's going to create this, you know, consolidation base like Bitcoin did, and then we go up. So that's what we don't know yet. And if that's the case, then what I can do is if I take this line here, right, and then if I clone it to here, or that would put me June 19th, okay? And B waves are typically shorter. I don't think it's going to be June 19th. It'll be probably way sooner than that. Probably, I would say, oh, look at that, Friday the 13th. How about that? So I'll say Friday the 13th. And then I'll take this line and I'll move it right here. And then I'll move this line over. So you're looking at like July. So basically a whole month. I'm just trying to understand that from a time perspective. If you take this 3-wave move and multiply it by 1 and then another 1, right? It's going to get you around July 1st or so. And July is actually the most bullish month of summer. Typically, but it's mostly summers are mostly just bearish. But you do have summer rallies. The most famous summer rally is the Bitcoin rally back here in 2019. I remember that very well. This all happened in July. I think, was that July? Yeah, you know what? It actually started in February and it ended in June. So I thought it was in July. Anyways, but it was bullish. So actually it was June that was really good. So June is here, right? So, you know, it's June is definitely capable of giving us a big move. So we'll see how that plays out. But anyways, let's okay, so we basically got it all figured out pretty much. Now what we want to look at is the small time frames. We want to see when this wave is done because we want to be long, because either way I'm going to be long, because I'm expecting, if this is well, I'll share that later, but let's zoom in and you can see very clearly you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got a 5-wave move. It's a little bit choppy, but you could see it. You got a 3-wave move up. Okay, so there's your A, there's your B, right? So the question is actually no. The question is this a flat 3-wave flat, and is this a flat, and then this is a 3-wave move? See, that's what we don't know. We don't know, and that's always the trouble with corrections is, if you get 5 in this wave, you should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that wave. You should. But if you get 3 in this wave, you could either get 3 or 5. And that's what makes it tricky, right? But the way I look at it, it actually looks kind of decent here, to be quite honest. And I really like it too. Well, I'll share that in a second too. But basically, you know, either this is finished, right? Or we have 4 and then 5. Not just for ADA, but everything else. Everything else, right? So the reason I like it, though, is because this wave right here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then you basically broke the low. And I would bet you that we had some kind of bullish divergence. Let's see. So let's go to the 1 hour, because that would be a little more appropriate. Yeah, you do. You definitely do. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you're good. You got triple bull there. Is it on a 2 hour? It's very nice on the 2 hour. 2 hours, very nice. Look at that bullish divergence there on the 2 hour, right? So, but that doesn't guarantee that the low is in. For example, this could be a triangle, A, B, C, D, E, you know, something like that. And then we pop down, and then that's the low, and there's your divergence. And then you create the base, and then you go up, right? But I would say, though, if this drops down and then we move up, it would make, to me, it would seem like we wouldn't need this. We would just need this, right? Because it would just make, it would give it more time. Because this right here, you have 1 and then 2. Look at the size of 2. You have 3 right there. Look at the size of 4. 2 and 4 are in the same degree. They're the same size. And this is also the same size. But then you have this and this, which makes it bigger, right? Which means this move here is in a bigger degree than these smaller waves. So that's how we know this wave is a separate wave from this wave. So this wave beginning all the way to the end. And now this wave here is a brand new wave. So, and proportionality and size, it matters, right? So, yeah. So I would say that, in my opinion, the best thing that I would do, and I can't give any financial advice, but the best thing that I would be doing is accumulating spot positions. I mean, these prices are good prices. Obviously, we could drop a little bit lower. Definitely don't want to take out that low. You know, we don't want to get this thing too extended. If we look at well, one thing we can do is take a trend-based fib extension from the top of A, from the bottom of A, back to the top of the B, and you can see we have already went beyond the one-to-one extension. So, you know, this wave is, from a size perspective, from a length, you know, the size of that and the size of that are relatively the same size, which is a good indication that it could be finished. Now, but here's the thing: it could extend down to the 1414. All right. We don't really want it to go to the 618 because then it would seem like a 1, 2, 3, and then you would expect a 4 and then a 5, and that would be really bad. So we really want it to chill out at the 1-to-1. That's typically where you want to look at. All right, let's look at Bitcoin then. So Bitcoin is the big boy that we've been expecting a correction here. Bitcoin's at a very dangerous spot because it took the high. I didn't want it to take the high without correcting first, because it's not that it's a bad thing, it's just that it increases the risk that this was a liquidity grab and we're just gonna go way down. So like, you have 3 down, you have 3 down right there, and then you have 3 up right there, and then you would see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, right? If we got something like that, it would be much bigger than a flag, right? Because the idea is that this is gonna flag out, right, and then go up. But since it took the top, it is bullish, but you know, you ran out of momentum. You know, you kind of want to, if this is the top, you want to go up, and then you want to flag out down here, and then kind of butt your head up against it, and then break out. That way you reset the momentum there, because that's why we're, you know, and again, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got plenty of waves to the upside. So when I look at this chart, it doesn't look finished though. So you can see how small that is. So that length is like the same size as that or that, right? So to me, it needs to be bigger. So let's zoom in. Now, just because Bitcoin, right? Let's say Bitcoin, you have 3 down. Let's say we go 3 up and then we go 3 back down. And then it still could be, that could still be, you know, 3 back up like this, and then 3 back down like that. And it could be even more complex, right? You know, whatever it is whatever it's going to be. There's no way to predict exactly how it's going to look, but that's what we should expect, something like that. Now, how long is it going to take? Well, if we look at the trend-based time extension, we can do it with this wave here. From the bottom of that wave roughly to the top, you can see we're not even to the 382 yet. So this thing could take a little bit of time. But the good thing is, just because you can say, well, wait a minute, ADA and Matic look like they were already done, but Bitcoin doesn't. So which one's telling the right story? Well, they're both telling the right story. And the reason why is because in this situation, you would really want it to end right around there. So we had 3 down. So let's see if maybe we get one more low. That's what we'll look at the small time frames in a minute. But maybe we get one more low, we get 3 up, and then we get 3 back down. And that 3 back down lands us between the 50 and the 618 of the trend-based time extension, because we're trying to figure out the time. When moon? That's the biggest question everybody has. When? Well, you're looking at probably maybe the 3rd week of June, no later than the end of June, I would imagine. So look for about 2 to 4 weeks. That's how I would say, 2 to 4 weeks. Now, if it happens much sooner than that, for the altcoins, that's different, right? But for Bitcoin, you kind of want it to spend as much time, because the more time it spends, the more it's going to reset the momentum, and that's what we want. So if I put back on the screen, okay, let's get rid of that. So those are the 2 lines we're looking at. So if we look at like ADA real quick, and we put it, there we go. So you could see the differences in waves, right? So here's the bottom of Bitcoin's wave, much more impulsive, very impulsive wave, right? So it's going to require probably more correcting. But then you have like ADA on the side here, where you have kind of a diagonal shape to it, you know. You can see it kind of broke below that area, but that's fine. So what could happen here? This is another idea, and I would say most people shy away from even talking about this in fear for being wrong, but it's not about being right or wrong. It's about opening your mind to what is possible and then narrowing it down as the candles print, right? So, for example, this could play out like this, right? So we have Bitcoin goes down in 3, ADA goes down in 3, right? And then they can both go up from there. That's idea number 1. I don't think that's what's happening though. Idea number 2 is that you have 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down, then we go up. Same thing here, 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down, then go up. Very identical, right? That's could also happen. But here's the interesting thing. What if this is even more tricky, right? So let's say we go down in 3, fair enough. And then Bitcoin goes back up in 3, but Matic or ADA or whatever decides when Bitcoin goes back in the B wave, decides to break out. That could very well happen, right? Because the proportionality of the waves. So then Bitcoin goes down in the C wave, and then that's when ADA flags out for the next move up. And then they both break out at a big time. But ADA does it from a higher level, because if we look at the whole correction here, you can see you have the top, the bottom, and ADA's way down here, but Bitcoin's way up here, right? So, and then this is where Bitcoin this is where Bitcoin dominance comes into play now, right? So if this one's way up here, then that means there's divergence happening. That means ADA should catch up, right? Because ADA should be up here, right? So it's possible that, we have the three wave move down. If we get 3 waves back up, that could be the moment where we break out up into the retrace levels. And then when we get that 3rd wave back down, that's when we kind of chill out up in these very strong resistance areas. And then as Bitcoin breaks out, that's when we break out. See, I haven't seen anybody explain it that way. I think the way I'm explaining it makes a lot of sense, right? I don't know exactly which ones are going to be, but we have the tools to figure it out as the days progress. And again, I was going to put a members video out, but I'll do it this week, and I'll explain about rotations and targets and my strategy on how I'm playing it. But basically, for the average person, the best strategy is to just dollar cost average. You guys work a job, you get a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks. Maybe some of you work, maybe some of you on a fixed income. Whatever you're allowed to save at the end of each month, save it. But take a fraction of that, and in my opinion, it's best, right? Not advice, but it's best to invest, put your money to work, right? And then over time, you look back in 2 to 3 years, whoa, you got a lot of crypto. Because I look at crypto like a piggy bank, right? Whatever extra cash, extra coins, extra whatever, I just throw it into crypto and don't even think about it, right? And it's not about, oh, the price went down, I'm so sad. No, it's like, let's say your name is John. It's not about you, John. It's about you, old John. It's about old John, not today. It's not about today or tomorrow or next week. It's about 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Think about when you have that mindset, because everybody wants it now. We got to break out now. I mean, what's taking so long? when you have that type of mindset, it makes it longer, right? It makes it unbearable. But if you think about it, because it's all psychology, all this is psychological, right? So if you can master that, you'll be in a good spot. But yeah, just take it day by day, and don't be in such a hurry, because to me, do you have enough? Do you, if crypto, if the narrative is what they say it is, which is what? Which is the greatest wealth transfer in human history. Well, okay, if that's the case, and we're about to have the greatest wealth transfer in human history, as they say, then don't you want a lot of crypto? And you say, well, I do got a lot of crypto. Yeah, but don't you want more? I think I got plenty. Well, you say that now, but then once we break out, you're going to want to buy more, right? But if you would have just had accumulated this whole time, you'd be in a good spot. So even if you buy, like for example, if we had 3 and you accumulated here, right? You had another 3 you had accumulated here, right? And then let's say you accumulated here and then maybe here, right? Well, eventually, and then as the price comes down, you're like, well, I lost. I got screwed. Well, no, because if the price, once it eventually breaks out, and there's no guarantee it will, but over the next couple of years, it sure will, right? You can't look at it like that. You got to look at it from a year perspective. Then all of these spots where you DCA'd all now in profit, right? It just took time. Look at XRP. XRP was my biggest holding for years and years and years and years. And you know how much patience it took for me to hold that thing? It took a lot. And you know why? Because I had the conviction. I had the conviction of actually what it was, right? And based off the wave structure, let me just show you all the amount of time that it took. Get ready for Theta too, because I'm about to look at it. So, all of this was dollar cost averaging, right? And every time I bought, is it the right thing? Is it the right thing? Is it the right thing to do? Is it the right thing to do, right? And then we move down. It's like, oh, I feel like a loser because I bought, and maybe it's going to come down here. Maybe it's going to go way down here. And then no, it's going to break out. Why is it going to break out? Because we figured it would. Why? Because you have a very, you have A, B, C, D, and E. You have a triangle, perfect triangle. You also have the same rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, right? You also developed one of the biggest bases in crypto history, right? You went sideways for 7. So it took a lot of patience. But during those 7 years, think about how much XRP you would have had if you would have dollar cost averaged, even starting in 2019, right? So, most people, again, get paid every 2 weeks. You take a fraction of whatever because, everyone's got car payments and insurance and rent and phone bills and all kinds of stuff. And it's hard. It's a struggle, especially in California. It's expensive. But whatever someone not in particular, is allowed to save, over the course, but think about it, over the course of 5 years or 7 years, that's a lot of money. Right? Whatever it is, maybe it's $10 a month. Maybe it's $30 a month. Maybe it's $100 every 2 weeks. I don't know. But whatever it is, year after year after year after year, that is going to get bigger and bigger, right? So most people get, again, 24 paychecks a year, right? If there's 12 months a year, you get 2, right? That's 24 paychecks. That's 24 times you could have bought. Right? And then multiply that by 5 years. Right? And you say, well, it's too late. It's too late. I should have did it. No, it's not. It's still very early. Now, XRP hasn't broken out yet. I think it's going to break out relatively soon. But, it's still not too late. And here's the thing. Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And then we went into a big bear market. Well, look, that's an extra 2 to 3 years you can DCA before the next move up. Because at some point, you're going to be a millionaire, okay? It's just going to happen. Whether you like it or not, you will be a millionaire. Maybe you are already. And the reason why that's going to happen is because if you look at it like the stock market, crypto is a baby. It's not even $5 trillion. It's still very small. And there's still no regulations, and there's still no utility-driven markets, right? It's all speculation still. And as we enter the Trump era, the golden era, right? Because he's going to go after the Fed. They're going to audit the Fed. They're going to audit the gold. They're going to transition to a gold standard. It's going to happen, right? And crypto is going to be one of the vehicles, right? And it's going to be a fight against the central bank digital currency. This is all playing out, right? So you have to imagine in 10 years, crypto's got to be way bigger. Way bigger. It just has to be. And especially with AI and payments and, the traditional banking system is very clunky and slow and it doesn't work. Think about private banks contracting private crypto companies to do their payment software like Ripple. Like if I'm Wells Fargo and I don't want to deal with all these payments, I can call Ripple up and they can handle it for me, right? So, but they don't do that now because they're going through the SWIFT system. It's all old and outdated. But when we transition, we are transitioning it, and it's a process. But think about it. You say, well, it's not happening fast enough. Well, you don't want it to happen fast enough. You want it to happen slow so that it gives you more time to accumulate more than you ever thought, right? Because then you look back in 5 years, you go, wow, look how much money I made just by simply dollar cost averaging, right? You don't have to use leverage like me and screw it up like me sometimes, right? In order to do what I do, you have to lose a lot of money, all right? Because I don't have a paycheck. I have to fully depend on my trades to make money. So if you want to do that and you want to retire from your job and sit at home and trade and do it whatever you want, it sounds kind of fun, and it is, but it can be kind of boring too. You gotta keep active. You can't just sit on the couch. I can't sit on the couch, right? I have to keep moving. So having a job kind of gives you a little bit of, it keeps you moving, but then also when you're at home, you gotta keep motivated, right? And it's fun at first, but then you kind of have to figure it out. But if you want to retire from your job and be a trader full time, expect to lose a lot of money. That at first, you have to lose money in order to make money. You have to feel the pain of losing a lot of money so that you do it right. And most people don't do it right out of the gate. But anyway, I digress. So let's jump into the small times on XRP, and then we'll look at Theta. So from XRP's perspective, if I use a trend-based time tool, you could see we're right in the threshold of a reversal. So somewhere in this level, we should reverse. So maybe we kind of go like this, and then we drop below, and then we reverse. Whatever the case may be, right? It's kind of looking a little bit corrective. I'm not sure if this is like 1, 2, 3, and then we have a triangle for 4, and then we drop down for 5. Or it could be it's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Maybe this is like a 6 and then a 7. Well, you just count the subwaves, but I would honestly like to see one more low. I don't think it's quite finished, because if we look super small, I only have 3 waves, right? I have 3 waves off the low. I have 3 waves down. And then it looks like maybe 3 waves up, or it hasn't really broken the low yet. Or actually, yeah, it could be kind of creating a triangle in here. It's tough when it consolidates, but essentially you would want 3 waves up and then 3 waves down. So this could be 1, 2, 3 down, right? Maybe revisit the low. If we break the low, then this would be the fourth wave. So we'll see how it continues to play out. But for the most part, you probably have more downside a little bit, but eventually it's going to come back up here, right? And then if we kind of flag out in here, or like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then break out, that would be really, really, really nice to see. You know, for example, if you look at it like from a Bitcoin perspective, right here, you can see this level, right? Kind of like this in a sense. Let me bump this up a little bit to the 2 hour. So, you know, you got the move up, you got this descending triangle, low volatility, descending triangle, low volatility, big drop, kind of play around a little bit, and then, you know, you could make another low, so just be aware of that. But then you swoop up here, you swoop up, right? And then you flag out and kind of go sideways, flag out, go sideways, and then continue. So that's a good idea. Let's see if that plays. The most challenging part about TA is when you're stuck in the retrace levels, right? After you have the big pump, after you have the big crash, that's when it becomes very challenging, because you expect it to go into a retrace, but then once it goes into retrace, do you get another wave down? Do you break out from there? Do you go into reaccumulation? There's a lot of things that could play. And people who claim they know the answers, obviously it's all probabilities, right? No one knows exactly. So we have to track it, right? We have to keep watching it, you know, like a security camera, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, we have these trend lines that are kind of respected in a way, you know, in this kind of this broadening wedge perspective. Now from this perspective, you know, let's see, you know, you hold, let's see if we hold in here, right? So, all right, let's look at Theta. So this is Ethereum. There's Litecoin. All right, so you could see today it's kind of a down day. Look at dogs, down 6%. I actually closed my short for dog. You know, I shorted it right in here because I recognized what was going on. It was a nice short. I wish I would have held it for a little bit, but I'm kind of glad I got rid of it because I actually got rid of it down there. There's no guarantee that it's going to break that low. But anyway, I just thought I'd update on that. So I'm not holding any trades really at the moment except for Theta and SHIB, but just kind of throwing my hat in the ring a little bit, seeing what if anything sticks. So far, it doesn't look like it's sticking. So, but let's take a look at it. So Theta doesn't have a 5. It has a 3-wave move, right? So it started off as 5. And here's the cool part. See how this 5-wave move is right here? That 5-wave move is very similar to Polygon and 88 we were just looking at, and a lot of them. So right here, you know, I'm talking about this move right here is this move here. So let me make it a little bit smaller so we can see it. There we go. So there it is right there. So all of this is coming from a big down move, month after month after month after month, going down, 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 down. Okay, so we know that. So if we look closely, you can see what Theta did, and it looks exactly kind of like Matic, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have A, B, C, and then you kind of went up a little bit, See how it went up a little bit right here? It went up and then it got stuck, and then it dropped the low. Same thing here. It went up, it's getting stuck. Maybe it drops the low, but then look what happens after. We have a massive move to the upside. Let's see if we get that. That would be really, really cool. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that. It's a cool fractal. It's a cool fractal. I think I might even screenshot that fractal here. Let's see. There we go. Nice little, what do you call those? Thumbnails. Okay, let's take a look. So we have 3 waves up, right? So we know that for theta, we have 3 waves up. Boom. All right. But look at this. We also have what appears to be 3 waves back down. So we have 3 waves up, we have 3 waves down. Now this could either be, let me zoom out a little bit here. This could either be a couple different things. So it could be, 3 up, 3 down, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, right? And then that becomes a bigger 3, right? And then from there, you can have 3 down. I mean, it's a lot of possibilities. The whole point of theta, right? And the whole point of theta is that we're going to come back to about $3. We're going to go back to the retrace level. So this big crash right here should eventually level out whenever that is, and then come back up here. So that's my main idea. That's exactly what I think is happening. All right. Now let's explore the possibilities of how we get there, if that even matters. Some people just want to know, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Well, it's all about timing too, right? So overall, it should go up. But there's no guarantee that the low is in because we only have 3 waves, right? We need 5. How could we get 5? Well, this could be a wave 1 of a diag. We never thought of that. So 1, right? 2, and then we go up in 3, and then we go down in 4, right? And then we go up in 5. And it's 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And it's a massive sort of broadening wedge, right? And then that would be your wave 1. And then we would kind of flag out in here in a wave 2 and then go up for that wave 3. So that's an idea. It's not typically, that doesn't really play out because it's pretty massive how big that is. But you also had 3 waves up, 3 waves down, shoot the high. 3 waves up, 3 waves down. Let's see if we shoot the high. I think a move to the upside is coming. Again, it's all about Bitcoin though, right? Because if Bitcoin has to be a little bit more complicated, then it is what it is. So there's really not too much to say about theta, except we have a 3-wave move down. We're right at support. We're retesting this zone in here. Right, that's a really solid zone right in here. So, in my opinion, these are dollar cost averaging levels for sure. So here's the big part: is this going to go up in 3 and then back down in 3 or 5, and it becomes like 3 up and then a bigger 3 down, then go up? Right? That's very well possibility here. But the most bullish idea is that this is 1, 2, 1, 2. If this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, then we should see a big wave 3 to the upside. I just don't really know if that's the case, right? Because the second 1, 2, the 2 broke below the 1, and it's not really good for that, but we'll see how it continues to play. But if we look at the super small time frames, let's just take a look here, see if we have any edge on here. Let's go up to the 30-minute, get rid of that. Actually, I'm gonna have to zoom out even more. So okay, so we have we have 3, and we have 3. Perfect. Now the question is this third leg finished For example, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that would be still 3, right? Or it could be 1, 2, 3, and this 4, and then 5. Well, however you want to say it, it would be a move down, right? And this would be A, B, C, right? Then we go up. So, you know, let's zoom in here. So if we look at this little move, it looks like we have 5. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then look at this. We have 3 waves down. Okay. Look at this. We got 3 waves back up. Wow. And look at this. We got 3 waves back down. So is this a 1? And this is a WXY for a wave 2? Then what the hell is that? Well, I don't know. We'll see. It could be also that this is the 3rd wave like this. So you have 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down. And it becomes this box right in here. Just like the kind of like, you know, this kind of box right in here. You know, this range, right? So A, B, C, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be W, X, and Y, or A, B, C. We'll see. That's just an idea, right? And then a continuation. The other idea is that you have 3, and then this kind of whole thing is 3 right in there. It's like kind of a very complex B, and then you're going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for C and retest these lows. And you have 1, A, B, C, 2. So other than that, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the bigger this gets, the less likely we're going to go down for a 5th, because it's going to be too big for a 4th wave. So, yeah, definitely corrective, definitely consolidating. We just got to give it some time. But other than that, I think we're good. I think we're solid. You know, XRP's kind of got this trend line here. You know, it's kind of looking like it's a triangle formation. We'll see. You know, it's if this breaks down. But again, this is the 15-minute chart. Remember that. It's a very small time frame, because overall we're expecting it to go up. We're expecting it to get back up here because we have 3 down, right? If this is finished, which I don't know if it is yet, maybe we have 1 more down, but eventually we should get that retrace. When we get the retrace, does it go up in 5? And if it does, how does it correct? You know, if, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, does it correct bullishly? And then we can expect another move up. But if it goes up in 3 and looks corrective, then we can expect another 3 down before we go up. So it's complicated, but at the end of the day, it's not too complicated, you know. So all right, that's it for the video. Let's take a look around and see if there's anything rapid fire we can look at. Let's take a look at SHIB. So unfortunately I had to get rid of my SHIB trade, and good thing I did, because it would have took me out. It definitely went below my entry. So I'm glad I had to do what I had to do, right? Because the whole idea was to hold the trade for a grand slam and pay a percentage to one lucky member for you know, just to make it interesting, you know. Yeah, SHIB is definitely my favorite meme coin based off the structure. There's no structure for any meme coin that looks like this. Now that doesn't mean that this coin's going to outperform them, you know, because some of these coins, some of these meme coins that are brand new, they're going to give you the most money, but they're very risky because you just don't know a lot about them. SHIB has stood the test of time, so it's more trustworthy than some of these other ones that haven't been around. Like, you know, Pepe is also trustworthy, but Pepe, you know, look at the difference between SHIB. Now watch this. Now I'm going to type in Pepe. All right. Now if you look at Pepe, look at the difference, guys. All right. So whoops, Pepe, there's just nothing to it, you know? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, you have a 5-wave move, and it appears like you need A, B, and C. It still looks like you have a big move down coming. And then even if we got that move down, it'd be a pretty nice move up, but it's like there's no structure. Versus SHIB, SHIB had this structure. It came up, it came back down, it went sideways, it came back up, and then it came down in 3. So it has all of this consolidation, a big move up, this 3-way pullback, a 1-year 3-way pullback, right? So now you know, again, compare that to this. There's just, the structure is way better, right? Remember, XRP exploded. Why? Because it went sideways. Sideways is good. Sideways is your best friend for accumulation. All right. So, all right, let's take a look closely here. So same thing with SHIB, you know, same thing. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, A, B, C, 2, let's go. Or this is going to be 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down, and then we go. Which one's it going to be? It's hard to tell, right? But we didn't really talk about any bearish ideas. Ultimately, for Matic, for ADA, for, you know, Theta, the biggest bearish idea would be that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. We still have to have another low for SHIB, right? That would I don't think that's the case though. But if it is the case, and we do have another low, then this low for sure would have to be the end. You know, because you definitely have 5. So then from there, we would definitely expect a retrace. But I don't think so. I think we're going to retrace from here. So if we look small time frames, it doesn't look finished, though. It does not look completely finished. Well, let's see. Maybe it does a little bit. Let's see here. You do have 5. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. And you have 3 down. Maybe you get 3 up, and then you get 3 back down. That would be a nice move for a 3, right? If we get that, that would be an interesting long there. Otherwise, I would look at it like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we still need another low for 5, right? And then you have 3 down, 3 up, and then 1, which is 5A, and then B, and then C. A, B, C. A, B, C, right? Develop a little bit of a base, and then get the retrace. So, or if the low holds, then we have 3 down, and then we go up for that retrace. So that's pretty much it for everything. Total 3, same thing for total. See, this doesn't look finished to me. It looks like it's flagging out. See, if I flip it upside down, I mean, that honestly looks bearish, dude. So you have a double bottom, which is a double top. You came out, you flagged. You came out again, you're flagging. This honestly, it looks like it's going to go down. But that's okay. It's okay. Why is it okay? Because we expect that. Why? Because look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin still, you know, would make sense if it kind of pulled down a little bit more. You know, it looks like it's flagging out. So if it pulls down and then it goes up in 3, then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we get 5, then we would expect a 3-wave retrace. Because it's all about the wave A. If wave A is 3, it's challenging because we don't know if C is going to be 3 or 5. Since A is already 5, then we can expect a B and then a 5-wave C before we go up. But honestly, right now, what I dollar cost average, I would dollar cost average a very small amount, and then I would wait about 24 hours and see exactly, or not 24 hours, probably a week, and then see exactly. But we went down. Let's take a look here. So Bitcoin has been going down since Thursday of the previous week, right? Actually, yeah. What was it? Today's Monday. Okay, so that's 1 week. Thursday. Okay, so right here. So we've been going down all the way down, 7-8%. So, and that's big for Bitcoin, right? A 10% move down, so that qualifies for dollar cost averaging, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, that'll do it for this video. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.